Alright, this is Mr. Gillum, and today we're going to go ahead and learn about the distributive property. You may or may not have done this before, but what we learned yesterday was how to combine like terms. So same exact variable, same exact exponent, those can go together, constants can go together. And now before we do anything else, we're going to actually start to throw in a little bit of multiplication in there for you. So then we're going to have to add and subtract to combine our like terms. So let's just take a look here. The distributive property basically says you get to multiply anything that's right in front of the parentheses times everything inside the parentheses using multiplication. So you get to multiply all the things. So, for example, if I had a 3 outside the parentheses and I had a 2x plus 1 inside, I would take 3 times the 2x, 6x, and 3 times the positive 1, positive 3. Or if I had negative 2 in front of the 2x minus 1, I would do negative 2 times 2x and negative 2 times negative 1. And that would be it. That's called the distributive property. That's what we're learning about today. A lot of times they're going to be a little more complicated than that. We'll have to do some combining of our like terms, but that's all right. We can do it. So let's take a look here. We got some practicing to do. And so when we're doing this, let's see, let's pick a color that you can actually see well. Let's just do this color right there. The distributive property says, you see it, the parentheses are going to, I'm going to emphasize the parentheses because whatever's right in front of the parentheses, including the sign, gets multiplied into both parts in the parentheses. Now I see a lot of students that just take the 5 times the x and they're done. They do 5x plus 12. Wow, that's just not quite right. We know the distributive property says we need to multiply 5 times x for 5x and 5 times 12 for positive 60. That's what we should have. So make sure, it's a little rainbow here, a little rainbow deal. Make sure you're multiplying it by both parts on the inside. So let's take a look at another one here. And this one, here's my parentheses. So I'm looking right in front of those parentheses or right behind. If it's connected with multiplication and you're multiplying into parentheses, everything gets multiplied. So in this case, I have a 3 times a 6, and I have a 3 times a 2y. It's a positive 6y. But this isn't my best answer. My constants always come last when I'm writing my expressions down. So really my 6y comes first and my positive 18 comes second. Alright, it's a distributive property. It's just multiplying everything on the inside of the parentheses by whatever's right in front of the parentheses. So in this case, make sure, this is the most important part. Let's do this. If you are listening to the notes, you will put a smiley face right underneath the star that I just drew on number 3. You draw a little smiley face right underneath the star. So you should have a star and then a smiley face right next to each other, right next to number 3. This is the most important problem, so I hope you're all listening. Big fat smiley face. Okay, here we go. I know the 4 is the only thing that's right in front of the parentheses, but really the negative sticks with the 4. It's a negative 4. So negative times a positive, negative 12x, and negative times a positive, minus 32. Okay? The negative gets distributed to both parts. I see a lot of people accidentally put a plus sign where there's a minus sign right there because they're just looking at the 4. Okay? They just leave these as pluses, but that's not true because the negative is also being distributed. Okay? That's important. It's very, very important. So like I said, once again, make sure you have a star and a smiley face there next to number 3. It's very, very important. Number 4, sorry. Distribute my 7 into both parts. 14b minus 21. Pretty straightforward. Make sure the 7 gets multiplied by the 2b and the 7 gets multiplied by the negative 3. Okay, it's a minus 3. It's a negative 3. All right, let's look at the next slide here. Once again, I have this little negative 4 there. This is going to be another really important one. So right underneath that smiley face, if you're listening to this, please put a star. This is very, very important. Put a star right underneath the smiley face. So I know that you're listening. So you should have 2 indicators now that you're still listening. The negative sticks with the 4. It is distributed too. So negative 4 times 6a, negative 24a. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Okay, it's easy to make mistakes on the signs. Remember, any 2 numbers that are multiplied, if they're the same sign, it becomes positive. If they're a different sign, they become negative. So a negative times a positive is a negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. All right. And so now we start into the more difficult things. Okay. This 2 gets distributed only to the parts in parentheses, okay? This plus 8x and plus 6 do not change. So just to emphasize that, I'm going to write those down first because those are not being multiplied or being changed at all. Okay, they're just plus 8x plus 6. But I do multiply the 2 times the 3x, 6x, and the 2 times the 4, plus 8. Now, I don't have my best answer. I need to go ahead and add my like terms together, combine my like terms. 6x, positive 6x plus 8x is 14x. Positive 8 and positive 6 make a positive 14. Okay, so there's my final answer. It looks good because it's in alphabetical order and my constant comes last. All right. So next to number 7, we write a smiley face and a star because it's twice as important as the other ones. All right, we have 2 things we need to be careful of. We have this negative 3 that needs to be multiplied to both parts, negative 18 minus 6x. And I have behind that my plus 12 and my minus 3x. Okay, one more time. The tricky part is remembering that negative gets distributed too. Negative 18, negative 6x. Plus 12 minus 3x, this does not go to these two. It only goes what's in parentheses. Okay, now I have to combine my like terms. So because I know that I'm going to have to write it with variables first, constants last, I'm going to go ahead and look at my variables. I see a negative 6x and a negative 3x. Same signs, add and keep, different signs subtract. These are the same signs. I'm going to add and keep negative 9x and negative 18 plus 12. Different signs subtract. 18 minus 12 is 6, but I'm going to keep the sign of the bigger number to be exact, so negative 6. So there we go. Negative 18 plus 12, I'm at negative 6. Or if I'm negative 18 in the hole and I climb 12 steps out of the hole, I'm still in the hole 6 steps. So negative 6. However you want to think about it, that's fine. But this looks good because I have my variable first, my number second. Without a variable, we call that a constant. That's a really important word, constant. Okay. Let's just do a couple more here. I think, is there one more page after that? No? Okay. Well, that's right. There's number 12 is on your paper. Okay, let's practice some more. 4 times x, 4x, 4 times 3, plus 12. Plus 2x, plus 8, those don't change. That step needs to be shown on your paper. If it is not, you will not be receiving full credit. 4x plus 2x, those are like terms. They have the same exact variable. 6x plus 12 plus 8 plus 20. 6x plus 20, there's my answer. Okay, like I said, now these are expressions, they're not equations. There's no equals, so I don't see any equal signs on anybody's paper today. All right. Ooh, tricky one. 3y doesn't change, plus 8 doesn't change, but I see this 4 times both parts, but it's not just any 4. You got to keep that sign in front of it with it. Negative 4 times 6y is negative 24y. Negative 4 times positive 3 is negative 12. Put, what can we put on our paper? A lightning bolt next to number 9 because everyone's going to make a mistake with that negative in front of that 4. So if you don't have a lightning bolt next to 9, then I know you weren't listening very well. 3y minus 24y is negative 21y. Well, same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. This is a positive, this is negative. They're different. We're going to subtract. 24 minus 3 is 21. Keep the sign of the bigger number. 24 is bigger than 3, so we're going to keep the negative, negative 21y. 8 minus 12. Right there, those can go together. 8 minus 12, same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. 12 minus 8 is 4. And I'm going to keep the sign of the bigger number again. So in this case, 12 is bigger than 8. It was negative, minus 4. Here you go. Or you could think you're out of the hole 8 and you're moving down 12 steps. So it takes 8 steps to get to 0 and another 4 steps to go to negative 4. Next one here, number 10. Let's do another lightning bolt. Next to 10. Once again, we have a distribute the negative. So 5x doesn't change. The negative 10 goes to both parts. Negative 10x. Negative 10 times negative 5 is positive 50. And then a minus 6. It doesn't change either. Okay, only the parts in the parentheses get multiplied. Now I gotta combine my like terms. 5x minus 10x, same signs add and keep. Different signs subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5x, but I'm going to keep the sign of the bigger number, in this case 10, so it's going to be negative, and 50 minus 6. There we go. Or you could think I'm 5 out of the hole. If I move 5 down to 0, I have 5 more to go. To be negative 5. Number 11. Distribute. Negative 16x. Ooh, almost made a boo-boo. We have negative 16x minus 40 plus 12x. And so now I see this negative 12, this 12x did not change at all. Okay, the negative did get distributed though. Combining my like terms, negative 16x plus 12x is negative 4x minus 40. And there's my solution. And remember, you got to have your variables first, your constant last. Variables go in order from highest exponent down to lowest exponent after alphabetical order. So that's it. So for today, you should have number 12 to do when you go ahead and finish number 12. And then when you put a, let's see here. Let's put a stick figure of yourself right underneath number 12. So I know you were listening for the whole video. That's it for today. Have a good day, everybody.